So in the 2021 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic have the 8th pick. They also have the 5th pick in the draft, but I already made a video about that one, so you can check that out if you want. But Orlando does have the 8th pick in the draft. And although they do have a history of making bad and dumb selections, I believe the Orlando Magic can very well get one of the steals in the draft. So in today's video, I'll be discussing who I think the Orlando Magic should draft with the 8th overall pick. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and help my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Comment videos to conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro. The first prospect I think the Orlando Magic should consider getting with the 8th overall pick is Scottie Barnes from Florida State. Barnes is a 6'9", 227-pound forward. He attacks the rim with great speed and strength that other players his size can't do. When he attacks the rim, he rarely gets pushed off his path. He handles the ball very well for his size, and at times he can run point and be kind of like a point forward. He can even post up against bigger defenders. He's also a very good passer for his position, and he also has great lateral quickness and speed, which allows him to guard every position on the floor. He's also very passionate on the defensive side of the floor, as he's always trying his hardest, as well as on the offensive side of the floor. He's just a player who plays very hard and gives a lot of effort. He's kind of like a spark plug type of player. He has a lot of potential, and people often compare him to Draymond Green. Obviously, we shouldn't go that far yet, but he definitely has some similarities to him. To voice out some of his weaknesses, it's mainly the fact that Scottie is not a good shooter at all, as he only shot 30% from 3 in college. The only positive is that he's actually willing to shoot threes, unlike a guy like Ben Simmons. But if he can't shoot better than that in the NBA, he won't be able to be a real perimeter threat. And although he has decent handles, he doesn't have elite handles like other NBA prospects, and he's also a very poor free throw shooter, as he just shot barely over 50% as a forward. So that's another questionable sign, since a lot of people look at free throw shooting to determine how good of a shooter you can be overall. But to discuss whether or not the Magic should select him, I think there's a decent chance they select him, because the Magic aren't in a situation where they should be drafting for fit. They should just be drafting who they think the best player is available, and I think that very well could be Scottie Barnes at this point in the draft, because although Barnes doesn't scream out to be a player who's going to be an all-star or even a superstar in my opinion, he gives me vibes like a guy like Draymond Green, who could be a very good defender, who could guard all positions and do things like that. And although he might not be great on the offensive side of the floor, his passing ability and his ability to handle the ball and attack the rim, and maybe even play the small ball 5 position, could really help. So I feel like if Orlando selects Scottie Barnes, it's not because they want him to be their franchise player or anything like that. I think it's just because they think he's going to be like kind of like a project guy who in the future can be really big to this team when they want to start winning. And I think they just need to get that one star player to like build around, like that John Morant, Trae Young, you know what I'm talking about, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum type guy, and then have Scottie Barnes alongside him if he reaches his whole full potential, and then the Magic can actually be pretty good in the future. The second prospect the Orlando Magic could potentially select with the 8th overall pick is James Bouknight out of UConn. Bouknight is a 6'5" shooting guard who is able to score at all 3 levels. He has the ability to attack the rim due to his solid handles. He's a high-rising guard who uses his vertical to finish at the rim. He also is a very good rebounder for his height, as he's always attacking the glass. He's also a player who thrives in isolation due to his shiftiness and his handles and things like that. He's also great at creating his own shot off the dribble. He's a decent playmaker who can often find open teammates. He's also a decent defender only due to his 7-foot wingspan. He's also one of the better prospects when it comes to moving off the ball. He can also shoot the 3 at a decent level, and in transition he's a pretty solid player who could finish with some powerful dunks. To discuss some of his weaknesses, it's the fact that at times he gets too overconfident and takes too much shots that he definitely shouldn't be taking, and he can sometimes shoot his team out of games. He's also a very skinny defender, so he probably can't guard bigger players coming into the NBA. He also really struggled like when it came to turning the ball over, as he averaged significantly more turnovers than assists, and I think there's a decent chance the Magic select him. And I think it wouldn't be the most dumb selection, because Bouknight is a guy who seems like he could be a star in the NBA. He probably has more potential to be a star than a guy like Scottie Barnes, Keon Johnson, who are all guys who are rated above him, but he also has potential to not be that great in the NBA. And when you add in his inconsistent shooting and things like that, it's not that amazing, but if Orlando really wants to try and get a future star type player, I think they should consider getting James Bouknight, because I think he has that type of potential. So I think there's a decent chance they select him, and I don't think it would be the most terrible selection either. The third prospect I think the Orlando Magic could potentially select with the 8th overall pick is Keon Johnson out of Tennessee State. Johnson's a 6'5", 186-pound guard who's a freakish athlete. I believe he had like the highest vertical jump in NBA draft history or something like that, so he's definitely very athletic. He's a high-level defender with amazing reflexes, and he has great lateral quickness and speed to stay in front of defenders. He tackles them very well and often puts defenders in a position to where they either have to foul him or just let him score the bucket. He has a great feel for his angles. He also has solid handles that help him get around the defense. In the transition, he's also one to make highlight plays due to his athleticism. To voice some of his weaknesses is the fact that he's not really a great shooter, as he shot 27% from 3 in his time at college. He also only averaged 11 points in college, which is an amazing sign. He's also apparently not a really gifted scorer, since a lot of times when he really needed a basket, he relied on post-ups to score when he needed to, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but for a 6'5" skinny guard, you would hope that's not the case, since in the NBA he won't be able to do that as much. He also apparently has the tendency to over dribble into the teeth of the defense and throw bad shots or make a bad pass. He also turns the ball over a lot due to his loose handles, and when it comes to help defense and things like that, he's not a plus defender. And to be honest, I don't really think the Orlando Magic are going to draft Keon Johnson. Although Keon Johnson is ranked really high, in my opinion, I feel like he's going to be one of those guys who fall down in the draft significantly, just due to the fact that he doesn't seem like a prospect with great star potential due to his lack of like elite ball handling, shooting, and things like that. But even if he could just shoot at a decent level, I would have him going way higher, but he's literally a bad shooter, and he's not going to be able to survive in the NBA if he's not at least an average shooter. And I would hope he could be like a 3-and-D guard in the league to a degree, but he's not even a great passer. But I feel like most teams in this area are looking for guys who could like maybe be a star, or at least be like a really good starter. And in my opinion, Keon Johnson has a lot of bust potential, and I don't think it would be smart for the Magic to select him this early. But to conclude the video, if I had to guess who the Magic would select 8th overall, I think it will be Scottie Barnes. I think they'll select him because although they have Jonathan Isaac, who's probably their best player, and he's like a forward, small forward, power forward type of player, he's been injured so much in his career that I don't think you can pass up on a prospect just for him. I also think Scottie Barnes plays somewhat similar to Isaac, so if there's a chance he can just replace Isaac if Isaac can never get healthy. And I just think like if Barnes reaches his full potential, he can be a very good all-star, kind of in the way that Draymond Green was an all-star, just because of his defense. And like he's gonna be amazing on the defensive side of the floor in my opinion, and although he might struggle a bit to score on offense, I think he can make up for it with his playmaking and his ball handling and his ability to play the small ball 5. I doubt Scottie will ever be the guy who's going to be putting up 20 points or anything like that, but if he's surrounded by good talent, he could play the Draymond Green role at a good level, and there is a chance that Scottie might go higher than the 8th pick. I don't think he will, but there definitely is a chance, and if he does that, I think they will select James Bouknight, who has star potential and is a good scorer. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think the Orlando Magic are going to select with the 8th pick. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want more NBA content like this, and I wish we roll 1,500 subscribers. Comment this video to conversation, as I do respond to every single one of my comments, and I'm out.